Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This chapter is about organization, culture, and environment. What is organization, environment, and what is organization, culture? As there are two major types of environment in which any entity is working. One is its internal environment, and the other one is its internal environment. When we talk about the external environment, so there are two type of external environment. One, it's journal environment. General environment is actually is actually one type of an external environment in which the this environment is for all the organization and for everyone working is in that area or in that country. But the other thing is your task environment. Environment is the immediate environment of the organization, which and the components or the participant of this environment have a direct impact on the organization. Second type of external environment is second type of the environment, sorry, is the internal environment. This is the internal environment is actually the environment of within the organization, where you have resources, you have your people, where you have owners, so board of director, employees, and other physical environment or working environment of the organization. And the last thing is the organization culture. The organization culture is actually a type of internal environment, but it is actually set of norms, values, and different other aspects which are shared within the organization. It's actually the relationship between each component and each participant of the organization, that how they interact with each other, how they value each other, what type of behavior is observed around the organization, and what is the relationship between their subordinate and the head of the organization or their CEO. So this is actually called as organization culture, and it is actually the most powerful type of organization, which has a very far-reaching effect in the on the people of the organization. Is organization environment important? First of all, organization interact and operate in the environment. As we have discussed in the system approach, that the organization has to take different inputs from its external environment, like for example human resource, materials, information, and financial resources. So all these are resources are coming from the external environment, and they have to operate within that environment. Obviously, the internal environment is there because that environment helps to transform all the resources which are coming from external environment. And if that environment is good, so obviously this transformation would be very profitable, because after the transformation, these all these the all these outputs are being provided to the external environment again, and with their feedback they have to operate again and again. So in the organization environment is very much important, because as external environment has a far-reaching effect on the organization. Not only the external environment, the internal environment has its own strengths and weaknesses, which can affect on the performance of the organization. So first of all, we will discuss about external environment. That everything, what is external environment? Everything outside the organization boundaries, and it has effect on the organization. It's called as external environment. And one thing is actually very important to understand is that this external environment is uncontrollable. They are not under the control of the organization. They have to look into that environment and see that what are the threat and opportunity emerging from the external environment. And once we talk about these external environment, there are two type of external environment. One is your journal environment, and the other one is your task environment. Second type of environment is your internal environment. And this internal environment is the conditions and forces at work within that organization. That means that all the components which are within the organization, like your machinery, like your human resource, like the internal environmental culture and values, all these things are very are those forces which are within the organization, and this environment is under the control of the organization. And the company want to see the strength and weaknesses of this environment and try to improve that environment. Now, the environment perspective or the organization and its environment can be seen with this diagram. The red portion shows the internal environment, and the blue portion shows the task environment, and the yellow type of portion shows the external the general environment. So first of all, we look into the journal environment, and when we see the journal environment, there are technological dimensions like technological factors like change in the technology and new technological development and all those things. Then economic dimension like the nature, the I can say the state of the economy, the interest rate, the valuation of your currency, and all those things. Then socio-culture dimension, that means that the culture of that country, their society and their social norms and their values and all those things. And political and legal dimension are the governments, their rules and regulations, regulation regarding the taxes and all those things. And international dimension is the level of trade and level of the openness of the countries and the international markets and trends of the international markets, and all those things are included in international dimensions. And if we look into the task environment, the first one is your competitors. These are the organization which are producing the same kind of the product, and they are actually those organizations which are sharing your market, which are actually sharing your market. That means that you are there to have market share from them. And second one is your customer, the people whom you are entertaining, making product for. Then your suppliers, these are the organization which provide you with raw material and any other supplies which are useful for your production. Then your strategic partners like your distributors, or your same your any other company which are in collaboration with you, and they are working with you, your distributors, your marketing agencies, and all those things. And regulators are the many government agencies or private agencies who make rules and regulation for that industry. For example, State Bank of Pakistan is the central bank of Pakistan, which regulate the commercial banking systems in the country. Or the SECP is Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, which make rules and regulation for all the public listed companies. Not only that, different mutual funds and all those things. So obviously they have a direct impact on the organization. After that, we have internal environment, which includes the owners of the business and their board of directors who actually make decisions, your employees which are working within your organization, your physical environment like outlook of your company, your working conditions like installation of air conditions or safety procedures. And culture is the values and norms which are being shared within the organization. So all these have impact on the organization and their behavior of the people who are working in the organization. Now, if we look into the external environment, the first is the general environment, and these are the broad dimension and forces in the organization surrounding that creates its overall content. That means that these are the components, and these are the different forces which can impact the organization as a whole. That means that this component have a direct impact on all the participant of that environment. So first of all, we have economic dimensions. It is the overall health of the economic system in which the organization operates. For example, your economic growth, if you have a high economic growth, obviously it has a positive impact on the organization. Inflation means that the rising trend of prices. So obviously if you have a high inflation, that means that the inputs you are the inputs you are incorporating in the organization have chances of high cost. And interest rate is actually, if a high interest rate has a impact on the credit availability. That means that if you have high interest rate, you have high cost of borrowing. And unemployment, if an unemployment is there, so it has because it has a far-reaching a far effect on the organization sales, because when there is high employment, the propensity to consume of the people would be decreased, and the customer base would be lower. A second is dimension is your technological dimension, and these dimensions are have a very stronger effect on the organization, because the methods available for converting resources into production or services, if these are have is if these it tends to change, and technology tends to change with different things, or with different technological development. So obviously organizations have to employ all these changes within the organization. For example, with the advancement of internet and different internal systems and information system, the payment patterns and collection patterns have drastically changed. And with the information system increase, the consumer awareness has also increased, and competition have also increased. So it has have impact on the organization. So they have organization should look into the technological dimensions as well, and incorporate those things which have a far-reaching effect, and they have to and they grab the opportunities posed by this dimension. And then is your social cultural dimension. These are the customs, norms, values, and demographics of the society in which the organization functions. Like for example, the different customs and different the method of celebrating of different events, and major colors and styles, or taste and different other aspects of the society which have impact on the organization. For example, living patterns. For example, in Pakistan, previously the large system of families are there. There were large families, but now these social systems are changing, and we have more independent families, more people living independently, and many students are living in the in flats, and there are only individual families which are living with few children. So with the change in the socio-cultural systems, it has impact on the outputs of the company which are being offered by the of the company, which offered by the companies to the society. So it has to be changed, because with the changing in this social cultural dimensions, because the companies have to grab opportunities with changing patterns of different systems. Fourth factor of the general environment is political and legal dimension. It is associated with the impact of different government regulations and general relationship between business and government. So legal system partially defines what an organization can and cannot do. That means the rules and regulation and boundaries and certain restrictions, or pro or anti-business sentiment in government influence business. For example, there are certain businesses which are not being backed by the government, or there are certain sentiments which actually want to jeopardize certain kind of businesses. So this kind of system, or this kind of sentiment leads to strict laws regarding that businesses, and they have a very strong impact on the business, and it poses a very potential threat to the organizations. And third thing is the political stability. As when there is a political stability in the government, or in the country, so that actually give rise to consistent long term policies regarding the establishment of certain business environment, or different business zones, and so on, continuity of different policies. So business political stability is very important. If if there is a lack of stability, political stability in the country, so it poses a major threat to the organization. And long term political stability can give a very pleasant environment for businesses. The last thing is the international dimension. It is very important because when you enter into the international market, it has a greater potential for the organization. They can have a large base of customers. Their market share will increase. So this dimension shows the extent to which an organization is involved or affected by business in other countries. So if it is involved in other businesses in other country as well, so they have to see their political system and political stability and exchange rate and any other things which might affect their businesses. Plus what and how they are directly or indirectly affected by the businesses in the other countries. So these might pose some opportunities, might pose some certain threat, or it can give rise to certain opportunities as well. So you have to look into this international dimension as well. General environment can be explained with the help of an example. If you look into this, this is actually a general environment for McDonald's. So the general environment for an organization consists of economic dimension, technological dimension, social dimension, political, legal dimension, and international dimension. The red portion of this circle shows the internal environment, the blue portion shows the task environment, and the yellow portion shows the general environment. So first of all, we see the external dimension of McDonald's at US. If we look into this, we can see that economically there is there are moderate economic growth in the economy, and there is low unemployment, and there is low inflation. So it's actually a good economic environment for McDonald's in US. Then if you look into technological dimension, so there is improved information technology which actually help in delivery, payment system, and many other system, and more efficient operating system which will actually contribute into the automation of the McDonald's operations. But at certain times technological dimension poses problem, because when your opponent adopt the technology more quickly, you have to follow its step, because if you do not do so, obviously you will be kicked out from the market, or your cost would be your competitors cost would be gradually declined, and you would be on the loser side, because you cannot offer to the customer at lower prices. Then the socio-cultural dimension is your demographic shift in number of single adults in dual income families. Obviously, now there is a social shift not only in US but in many Asian countries as well. So obviously, it will help and it will contribute into the sales of the McDonald's, because people are actually more willing to buy ready-to-made products. And if you are a student and you are living single, so obviously you prefer to go out to McDonald's, because McDonald's offer a good meal on in reasonable prices. And growing concern about health and nutritional issue, it's actually a very big issue, like McDonald's, because they use cheese and many other fattening products. So obviously it's a threat to them, and they can tackle with the threat by providing certain certain type of products in their menu to target these health conscious customers. Then political and legal dimension, like for example food standards, government food standards, obviously it poses a threat, and it poses consistent pressure on the operations, because you have to come up with the food standard, and you have to spend money on that. Then local zoning climate, obviously the climate is changing, so it obviously have some positive and negative effect on the sales of the McDonald's. And a general posture toward business regulation. So obviously when there is strict regulations, so it has impact on any kind of business, including McDonald's. Then international dimension, restaurants in 150 countries, because the McDonald's have expanded their operations to different countries. And now at this point in time, when this example was developed, so at that time it was up to 115 countries, and about two-thirds of the sale from outside the United States. So obviously they have the international dimensions. At any time they have any problem in US, so they have enough sales from external market, or from international market, so they can cope up with that. So that's something important for McDonald's. And if they are operating internationally, so obviously there is different political and legal climate in different countries. So in that case they can get opportunities, or it poses threats to them from different countries, because they are working in different countries. For example, in India, there was a consistent threat, because you have to modify the food, because they cannot you cannot offer the McDonald's cannot offer the same kind of menu in Asia. So you have to see like that, how much opportunities they can avail in India or any other countries, depending upon their local culture and local specific religion, and many other aspects of international any aspect of that specific country. The second kind of external environment is the task environment. Actually, the task environment is the environment which has an immediate impact on your company. So, as general environment is actually not very clear, because its impact is felt in every kind of business and in every kind of organization working in that environment. So, its impact is not so much clear. But the task environment is actually a type of environment which actually has a very direct impact on you, and there are many participants, or their components of in a task environment, which has an impact on your company. First of all, your competitors. These are the companies who are offering the same kind of a product, or they are working in same strategic group. So an organization that competes, these are the organizations that competes with other organization, for example, for customer, quality labor, tax benefits, and scarce raw material. Or obviously they are sharing the same market, so obviously there is a competition between you and your competitors, and they consistently pose threat to you. If they commit any mistakes, so obviously there is an opportunity for you. Secondly, there are customers. The customers are people to whom you are serving. You are actually there in the market for your customer, because you want to serve those customers, you want to provide products to the customer. So they actually pay money for you to acquire the products and services of your company. And there might be some institutional customer as well. So you have like for example, you can become the suppliers to that company, because they are using that products for their business. So obviously you can find out that how you can tackle with these customer, and what kind of opportunities and threats poses by these customers. Then another component, and very important component, is your supplier. And the suppliers are the organization that provide you raw material and other resources for your organization. Like and They have actually a certain impact on your organization. They can pose certain opportunity threat to the company at certain time. So you have to look into that. Then after that, there are regulators. These are the organization, or these are the entities who control the different regulation of that particular industry in which you are working. They are actually a unit that has the potential control, and they legislate or influence an organization politics and practices. Like for example, if you look, your SBP is actually State Bank of Pakistan, is the central bank of Pakistan, and they control all the activities of commercial banks operating in our country. And we have a SECP, these Securities Exchange Commission of Pakistan. They actually regulate the mutual fund market, and specifically the stock exchange in the stock exchange of Pakistan. So these are actually the regulatory bodies who regulate different and make laws for the industry, and they have a significant impact on the companies working. Then your strategic partners, these are our organization with whom you are working, and you are working together with another, like for example in a form of joint venture or any other other form of partnership agreement. So the obviously they can give pose a threat, or they can provide you opportunity. So you have to see that whether they are they are loyal with you, and they want to work with you, or they are just there for damaging you. It is also very much important to see the intentions of your strategic partner while you are working. Now, in this example of McDonald's, we can see the task environment of McDonald's. First of all, we can see the competitors of McDonald's, like for example, Burger King, Wendy's, and Subway and Dairy Queen are the major competitors of McDonald's. Their customers are individual customers and institutional customer. Their suppliers are their Coca-Cola, wholesale food processor, packaging manufacturers, and strategic partners are their Walmart, Disney, and foreign partners which are working internationally. And their regulatory bodies are Food and Drug Administration Authority. Actually, they continuously monitor and find out the quality of food they are providing, the atmosphere they are providing to their customer. Then Securities and Exchange Commission. Obviously, the McDonald's is listed on stock exchange, so obviously they have to follow the rules and regulations of Securities and Exchange Commission. And at any time they change any type of rule or modify, it has an impact on the company. And Environmental Protection Agency. So it's also very important because nowadays there is a greater concerns of environment. Any kind of environmental regulations have a significant impact on the company's profit, because they have to spend more money on their wastage treatment, any other kind of activities which can enhance the environment protection procedures. The internal environment, and the internal environment is actually the environment within your organization. And actually this kind of environment is under the control of the company, because all the components and all the participant of this environment is under the control of the company. So these are the condition and stakeholder forces within an organization. For example, your owners are the someone who has a legal property rights to a business, can be a single or can be a group. For example, we have different kind of organizational structure, like a sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporate form of business. So in any kind of business, your owner have a potential effect on your operations of the business. And then we have a board of directors. These are the general management of the company, which actually is responsible for all the managerial activity of the company. These are the governing body elected by corporation stockholders and charged with overseeing the general management of the firm. Then you have employees. These are the people who are employed by the organization in order to accomplish all the work of the organization. there are different kinds of employees like temporary workers. These are actually workers which are employed by the company at a peak period. At any time they are being required. They are actually a low wage workers, and they are not participative in any kind of benefit, and obviously they are there for the company for a temporary time period, so you cannot expect so very much loyalty from them. But we have other kind of employees who are permanent, and they are with the business for a longer time period, so obviously they are more loyal to the company. They have a high wages, and they are actually members of a labor union, so they can impact significantly on the working of the organization. Last thing is your physical work environment. These are the facilities which are being provided to the employees within the organization. There are certain kind of companies who are working on a very high temperature, or working in the conditions which are not very healthy for employees. So whether the employees are being shielded or providing with the certain facilities which can protect their health or not, or for example, whether there is kind of facility available, like for example tea rooms, or tea rooms, or any other kind of facility available like a cafeteria or all those things. So which will help to enhance the performance of your worker. If they feel good in the company, it has a positive impact on the outcomes, or the working of the company, or the performance of the company. The organization culture. Actually, when we talk about organization culture, it represent internal environment of an organization, and actually culture shows the values, beliefs, behavior, custom, and attitudes that help the member of the organization understand what it stand for, how it does things, and what it considered important. So actually, when you are in an organization, so it is actually a social group, and when in a social group, humans interact with each other, and what kind of behavior is prevailing in that environment, and what is the behavior of the head of the organization to its subordinates, and what kind of behavior are between the peer groups and subordinates to their and what type of responses, or what type of sentiments the subordinates have for their seniors. So this is actually the culture of an organization, which is very much important, while and it is the type of thing which can create a comparative advantage for the organization, and it's something which cannot be seen with your eyes, but it is something which is a feel of that organization. And it is so powerful that it makes the people of the organization attached to it. And if they get a very lucrative opportunity, so they'll never hesitate to avoid that, because they are very much linked to their parent organization. So organization culture is important, for it determines the feel for the organization. And if you have a healthy culture in your organization, so obviously it is a strength for the organization, and people are very much comfortable in that kind of organization. So managing the organization culture, as managers are the people who are managing all the activities of the organization. So this is the responsibility of a manager to understand the culture which is currently prevailing in their organization, and decide that if it should be maintained or changed. Because with the passage of time, obviously different trends are changing, and different aspects are changing, as we have discussed, different behavioral and different other kind of approaches to management theory. So obviously with the passage of time, with the development of new knowledge areas, the culture has to be changed. And so it's the responsibility of a manager to understand that whether the current culture is appropriate, or it needs to be changed. So it actually have to draw a fine line between maintaining a culture and still working effectively, versus changing in a culture that has becoming dysfunctional. Obviously, you cannot bring a change abruptly. So you have to, if you have decided that you have to change that culture, so you have to do it with a very proper procedure, because it's a certain this translation is very delicate, so it should be done in a very appropriate manner. Organization environment relationship, as organization environment is very important for the organization, because the internal environment provide us the different strength and weakness of the organization, and external environment provide different opportunities. At the same time, there are certain threats which are being posed by the external environment. So environment is something very much important for the organization. So if an organization is has an open system, that means that they consistently interact with its organization and with various dimension of its organization. So we need to examine these interactions with respect to that how environment affects organization, and how organization adapts to that environment. So that means that what components of environment affect the organization, and if there are certain factors which have impact on the organization, so how organization can adapt to that components of its environment. So there are different perspectives. Three perspectives are suggested over here. First of all, there are James D. Thompson's Environment Change and Complexity. Secondly, Michael Porter's Comparative Forces, and the third is Environment Turbulence. So we can discuss all the three of these perspectives one by one in the next slides. First of all, we discussed that how environment affect organization. There are two major factors or two ways in which the environment can affect your organization. Number one is a degree of change, and the second one is degree of homogeneity. The degree of change, actually, when we discuss degree of change, that means that we have to see that whether your environment is stable or dynamic. That means that you have different factors in your environment, external and internal. So whether these environmental factors are consistently changing, or they are relatively stable. If they are stable, so that means that you don't have to make any rigorous changes, or you don't have to monitor too closely. But if it's dynamic, that means that there are many things which are consistently changing. So that means that you have to be very much conscious about your environment, and considerable and consistent monitoring is required. Second thing is the degree of homogeneity. Homogeneity means that similarity. The degree of homogeneity is extent to which the environment is relatively simple. That then there are few elements, little segments, or relatively complex. That means there are many elements and much segment. Like for example, when we talk about an industry of clothing. So clothing industry is very dynamic, because there are different segments, like a segment for old people, youngsters, for wedding dresses, casual dresses, formal dresses, and official dresses, and variety of segments are there. And still there are segments for the people of different age, people of different status. So that environment is very dynamic, but and there are many elements, and there is more complexity, and there is low degree of homogeneity. But when we talk about an industry for automobiles, so relatively it has a little less segments as compared to the clothing industry. So you have to see that whether the environment or industry you are targeting has a dynamic environment, or degree of homogeneity in different elements is less, or simple, or complex. So these two dimensions interact to determine the level of uncertainty faced by the organization. Can be explain with the help of is this diagram, because uncertainty is something which can create risk, and if environment is not predictable, you cannot effectively plan for it. So unpredictability create environment change and complexity is something which has to be measured, because if its uncertainty is at higher peak, so you cannot plan for a long term future. So it's also a driving force that influence many organization decision. So this diagram, like for example, if we see that on one side we have a degree of change, in the other, so the vertical side we have degree of homogeneity. And in this way, on this matrix we have compared with both of them. For example, at one end we have complex degree of homogeneity, and the other end we have simple degree of homogeneity. Degree of change is stable and dynamic. So if degree of change is stable and degree of homogeneity is complex, so there is moderate uncertainty. But if degree of change is stable and simple, that is, there is least uncertainty. But if there is the degree of change is dynamic and degree of homogeneity is complex, that means that there is more uncertainty, and you have to be very much careful about your external or internal environment, whatever you have. Then moderate uncertainty is when you have simple kind of homogeneity and degree of homogeneity and dynamic change. So you have to see that whether you, in which quadrant your industry lies, and based upon that you have to make plans, you have to make certain contingency plans in order you can face certain kind of uncertain situation due to a different kind of uncertainties. Can be explained with the help of these examples. For example, if you look at the least uncertainty, so cheap burger focus on certain segments of the consumer market, and it's produced limited product line, and they have a constant source of supplies, and so they are face literally relatively consistent competition. So there is least uncertainty for them. But in the case of clothing manufacturers, they are targeting certain kinds of clothing buyers, but which are very sensitive to fine fashion. So this kind of industry is in a moderate uncertainty zone. In case of moderate uncertainty, the automobile industry like Ford, Daimler Chrysler, and General Motors, these are the kind of industry in which they have to interact countless suppliers, regulators, and consumer groups and competitor, and their change is actually not very fast. So they lie in the moderate uncertainty zone. Case of most uncertainty, if you look into this, the for like technological companies such as Intel, Compaq, IBM, Sony, and other firms are in electronic fields, are actually in the technology industry, and technology is consistently changing. There is consistently innovation in technology, and consumer market is changing. So this kind of an industry is in most uncertainty, and they have to be very much conscious about their external environment, because they have to make changes, and if they do not do so, their competitor will, and they will be kick out of the market. Now another approach to environmental planning and factors which can affect your decisions based upon your analysis. Potter has given his model of five comparative forces. In this model, he analyzed the task environment. Basically, he tells us many segments or many factors which can affect your task environment, and actually task environment is very much important for a company, because these are the factors which can directly impact your company. So he identified five competitive forces, like first, threat of new entrants into the market; secondly, competitive rivalry among present competitors; thirdly, threat of substitute products; and fourth, power of suppliers, power of buyers; and lastly, power of suppliers. We can discuss these factors one by one in the next slides. First of all, we have a threat of new entrants. That means that how much your industry is protected by new entrants. If there are high entry barriers, that means that you have a protection from new entrants. And because there are, when there are low barriers and consistently people are the new entrants are coming in the market, so obviously it create more competition, and the new entrants will share more market share. So it create a competition for the company. For example, it takes a relatively small amount of capital to open a dry cleaning service or pizza parlor, but it takes a tremendous investment in plant, equipment, and distribution system to enter the automobile industry. So if you have a low capital requirement, so that means that this entry barriers is low. But only requirement of capital is not an entry barrier. There are lots of other entry barrier, like for example the legal aspects. You have a cost advantage, you have economies of scale. So there are different type of entry barriers which can restrict the new entrants. So when you are in the industry, you try to create entry barriers in order to decrease competition from new entrants. Second is your comparative rivalry. Comparative rivalry means that the people or the competitors or the companies are already working in the industry. How much they are competitive, whether they are posing too much competition, whether they are performing too much rigorous promotion or any other activity which can create a very strict kind of competitive environment. If that is so, that means you have to be very rigorous and you have to plan for that kind of competition. For example, if you look into the software industry, Coca-Cola and Pepsi often engage in intense price wars, competitive advertising, and new product reduction. Same is the case with the mobile service providers, like for example Jazz and Telenor and Ufone. They are engaged in rigorous advertising. They are consistently introducing and they're upgrading their products and introducing new kind of internet packages and etc. So they are very competitive. So in this case, you have to be very much conscious about your competitors who are in your industry. Third thing is the threat of substitute products. Substitute products are the products which actually serve the same purpose, which or a relatively close purpose related to your product, like for example tea and coffee, or soft drinks and fresh juices. So these are your substitute products. So these if you have more substitute available of your products, so that means you have competition from that substitute product as well. So for example, the advent of EPC reduced the demand for calculator as well as typewriter and large mainframe computers. So is the case with many other products, like for example with the kind of with the introduction of automatic machine, and the use of manual machines are being decreased, and with the decrease in the prices of automatic machine, people are most converting to automatic machine rather than using manual machines, washing machines. Okay, fourth is power of buyers. These are the customers, and when there are certain factors in which buyers are very high and they can influence to decrease the prices. For example, Boeing 77 has relatively few potential buyers. Only companies such as Delta, Northwest, NKLM, Royal Dutch Airlines can purchase them. So hence these buyers have considerable influence over the price. They are willing to pay the delivery date for the order and so forth. So that means that when you have a limited number of buyers, so they can influence you, and they can influence you by having their terms of payment. But in the case of power of suppliers, that means that how much your supplier have power over you. Like for example, if your supplier you have very few suppliers or only one supplier, so in that case the suppliers have monopoly and they can influence by charging the prices of their own. So for example, Wabda is the only source of electricity in our community. So subject to local or state regulation, it can charge whatever prices of their products they can. So same is the case in many other industries. So if your suppliers have monopoly, so in that case they have more power, and they can influence influence the prices or cost of your raw material. The third factor which can affect the environment is your environment turbulence. That means when there are certain factors which can have an impact on your environment. For example, terrorist attack, like for example in Pakistan, when we have a series of bomb blast or assassination of major political leaders or all those kind of activities. So in that time, the environment are very turbulent, and no one want to enter in the business scene of Pakistan. So it's terrorist attacks are a major influencer of business, because if terrorist attacks terrorist activity are very active in certain environment, people are not very much willing to start business in that, because the environment is very unpredictable. Secondly, workplace violence. When there is workplace violence, or in certain countries or certain industries, or in certain cultures, it's work place violence is more. So in that case, obviously, the employees are not willing to do job on that kind of cultures. Or computer viruses, this is a major factor, because in it can create problem, like for example in your banking industry or majorly technological kind of industry, it can create problem. So these all these factors can affect an organization in different ways, and you have to be very much cautious about that and make certain plans in order to tackle with these uncertain kind of situations.